drink and chew to the beat of Mogu Mogu with fun fruit flavors and real nata de coco bits. Mogu Mogu, you gotta chew.
Distributed in Guyana by Saria Manufacturing Inc.
Yes, good afternoon. Welcome once again to the special edition of the Wake Up Guyana show on Kaieteur Radio. It's a beautiful day out there, lots of sun shining, and it is a little horsey voice. But guess what? I'm so happy to be with you guys once again. It's Thursday, and it is Thursday, August the 27th, 2020. Lots of things in the news today that we'd want to share with you, and we have much to say, much to discuss, and I want to open those lines very early so we could continue our discussions that we have started this week here. So many things to talk about, from NIS to hampers to assistance from the government to, of course, jail and lockups and handcuffs. So let's get right down into the thick of things today. It is the Wake Up Guyana show, and you could get us here on 99.1, 99.5 Kaieteur Radio on Facebook, or Kaieteur Radio live stream, YouTube. So I want to say welcome, and let us get right down into the thick of things. Today, Mingo remains in custody. This morning, there's some photographs surfacing of Claremont Mingo returning Officer Region 4. He would have been arrested early this week from his home in Barry Region 5. He remains in custody as the investigation, which is headed by the police at the direction of the DPP, who's taking charge of the prosecution based on complaints. He remains in custody there, and there are other people being pulled in for questioning. And so there were these photographs surfacing this morning of him at the CID police headquarters, where the investigations are ongoing, and where he was there until a few hours back. So we are going to continue to bring that to you. And we would also be hearing that it is on August the 31st, that is on Monday, that the opposition, they've indicated, and this is via Mr. Joseph Harmon, who is the leader of the opposition designate, I want to put it that way. And he's indicated very, very clearly that on Monday at 10 a.m., they are going to file the elections petition. And this is what he had to say on a Facebook page today that has a lot of people a little upset. He's saying, come out and let us lend some support, meaning that there should be a crowd there. A lot of people are saying that is very irresponsible and that should not be. But it is on Monday, August the 31st at 10 a.m., an elections petition, the elections of 2020. There's an elections petition being filed by the now opposition, the coalition, and that is going to happen on Monday. As we speak here right now, we're going to tell you that two senior officials, executives of the accelerated fund, that is the fund that the authorities and the investigators and the regulators are saying it's a huge Ponzi scheme involving more than 20 million US dollars. While Mr. Yuri Garcia Dominguez appeared in court this morning along with his wife Atika Ishmael. She's Guyanese, he's Cuban, he's become a citizen here, became a citizen in June. They appeared in court, 20 charges were slapped on them. Two courts are handling this matter here. They appeared at the Vigilance Magistrate Court we're hearing. There were some protesters outside of that court this morning. They want the two executives to be freed so they could pay up. And pay up is what they're calling for. But let's go right into what we've been told, what transpired in court. Two lawyers, I think it's Glenn Hanneman, and I think it's, I can't remember the other lawyer, but they appeared there, and 13 charges were read to them, and then another 6 via Zoom or Skype from the Parna Magistrate Court. So 2 jurisdictions on the East Coast is handling this matter here, and a total of about 19 or 20 charges. They've been given bail on one court and refused bail on the other court, a total of almost It's over $9 million in bail from one court, and the other court refused them. So they have been remanded. This is Mr. Yuri Garcia Dominguez and his wife, Tika Ishmael. So this case is being treated very, very seriously. They are, among other things, being charged with taking money by false pretenses. And we are going to likely, based on what investigators are saying, likely to be see other charges. This case is riveting, or it has taken a lot of attention because of the sidebars. We're hearing some religious leaders who are acting as agents, recruiting people, bringing investors in. A lot of people would have bought into the scheme or the investment, and they believe it was legit, and so they invested wholeheartedly, and they're now hearing that it is nothing else but a Ponzi scheme. Let's see how this goes. So that is what transpired this morning. As we speak, also, we're hearing news that attorney-at-law Manoj Narayan, he's been around for a little while, very experienced attorney. He is going to be replacing Robertson Ben as a commissioner on the Guyana Elections Commission. And so you would recall that Commissioner Robertson Ben was named a minister within the government. He is the Minister of Home Affairs, and therefore he cannot have that dual function as being a commissioner at GCOM as well as having being a minister there. So Manager Ryan is going to be replacing him. What we could tell you at the moment, last evening, if you've missed it here at Kaieteur News, it was room 592. It was all fired up. We would have had Commissioner Bibi Shadik, and she would have made some bombshell revelations. If you missed it, you could get that on Kaieteur Radio on Facebook or Kaieteur Radio live stream on YouTube. And you should look at it because she would have talked to us very first time coming out since the elections would have begun in an interview, a tell-it-all kind of interview in which she indicated what would have happened, but she would have also talked about what transpired inside and the posture of Keith Lowenfield, and she believed that there were other players involved, and based on our information, that there were other things that happened that would have seen a declaration made. It looks as if there were outside pressure and so on, lots of outside pressure, and also things happening on August the 2nd that would have surprised many that that particular day when they would have expected drama, maybe even the resignation of a few commissioners. On the coalition side, there was a declaration, and in very quick order, the eventual swearing in that particular day of Irfan Ali as the president of Guyana. So if you missed it, you should look at it, or you should get somebody who could pull it up and listen to it. It's very interesting. We can try to dissect it and bring it to you as we go. This morning also, the police would have come out, and with regards to Mingo, issued a statement. They're saying that they have not breached anything when it comes to the treatment of Mingo. They are being accused of at least one lawyer saying that Mingo's lawyer, he's saying that all things were not right. So we are going to continue to bring you that story there as we get it up. In the meantime, let me see what are the other things here. The public tenders, the Ministry of Public Infrastructure or Public Works, they have come out and they are saying that they are releasing some tenders which will allow small parties or small contractors to bid for these contracts. This is roadside weeding project and so on. And I'm gonna try to pull that up in a very short while and tell you a little more about that. So let us get right down into the thick of things when it comes to reading what is Kaieteur News, what is Kaieteur News saying today. And this is what Kaieteur News on August the 27th, you could pick up your copies if there's available. It goes pretty quickly on the road. And on the top of the newspaper in the masthead, it's ExxonMobil president says EPA wasting government's money, taking us to court for a small matter. Are we serious? ExxonMobil saying that we're wasting money. If you would recall, if you're not familiar with this issue, the Environmental Protection Agency, which is a regulator in Guyana, would have fined Exxon of spilling some oil, and they're saying, Exxon is saying, no, 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 we didn't do that. In any case, it's a small amount, and they don't want to pay the fine. So they're saying, and EPA is making it very clear, we're taking them to court. All of the figures, the amount of money that we're looking at is just a couple $100,000. It is a principle that matters. So Exxon president in Guyana, he would have said that, this is a waste of time. But EPA is saying, no, 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 no. This thing here, we are taking you to court. The big story for the day was Exxon called a press conference as the guest was not invited to that party. Yeah, it was not Raj, it was not Gildarie. Kaieteur was not invited. I understand that Exxon, in its continued treatment of the Guyanese public, this is a big company, and I saw a CNN story this morning would have indicated how far they have fallen when it comes to one time being a big earner. They've taken some blows with the finances. Still a very, very powerful, one of the most powerful companies in the entire world, but it is demanded, or it is dependent on the Guyana situation for turning tide. It has dropped a lot of other places, assets in a lot of other places to concentrate on Guyana. And here is what Exxon would have said to the Guyanese public. Guyana, they have a third phase of the development, if you're not familiar with what happened here. So they have already been approved for phase 1, phase 2. This is Liza 1, Liza 2. The third phase, which is about several wells, is going to be there. It's a big development. It's phase 3 called Payaro. They have come to us, and Guyana is saying, no, no, wait a minute. We have some issues here. This new government is listening to what has been the criticisms and the advice coming from the local and international community. And of course, Kaieteur Radio would have been talking to these folks, and they would have bring in the news, warning what is likely to be some of the pitfalls. And so the government has been, this new government on the finale would understand that it's running straight into a den of snakes if it continues not to pay attention to these criticisms. And so they told, I think the EPA and everybody was supposed to have a meeting as the GGMC, EPA, and the whole works, the Department of Energy and the top officials. And Exxon said yesterday, very, very clear, to a press conference kind of afterwards with the media, in which Kaieteur News was not invited. And that is the impasse that these people are taking on the Guyanese people. And this is what they're saying. It could take its money elsewhere. And of course, we have our Vice President, Jagdeo, responded right away. He says, if that is a threat, it will not work. And this is the kind of language that you gotta be able to sit at the table and not blink first. Guyana is saying to Exxon at the very top level of the government, we are not going to be taken bullied. So that is the headline there. If it is a threat, it will not work. Jagdeo saying, government will continue to do its due diligence and will not be rushed. Vice President Jagdeo. So that's a very, very important story. And why is it important to all Guyana? Remember, we would have been talking a couple days back or over the last couple months about why is it that Guyana should find itself in a position that we have to be begging for donations all over the place, or begging bilateral institutions like IDB and the World Bank and others for money. That we have money, millions and billions of dollars, US dollars we're talking about here. We've been handed some bills that we have not even been able to verify. And Exxon has thrown it at us and says, you take it, and that's what you have to take. And so here it is, that we have to be able to get this money. We have to be able to get a better deal. Exxon should do the right thing. They want a good partner in Guyana. They don't want a country, which is a beautiful small country that is very, very stable, that is quarreling every single day, that is taken to the newspaper, that is hyping up, that is agitating all the time, that, just give us a little something more. You cannot have all for yourself. You cannot be charging us this kind of money and we don't know what you're charging us for. So we will continue to agitate, and Exxon, we're not going to blink. We're going to be sitting at the table right with you, and we're going to be insisting that you talk with us, and, whether the deal is sanctified, whether it's one that has been cast in stone, we're not going to take that. You could remember a couple months back, it was the Prime Minister of Trinidad says, if a deal, if in an agreement, if a contract benefits one party, then it's not a good deal. And he's also saying that we not willing to stand at the table and take the crumbs off the table. So let's get back to it. As a people, the gold in our backyard, the oil that is out there, it belongs to all of us. And Exxon, all we asking for, government of the day, all we asking for is a better deal. Our people should not be insisting, we want a hamper here or there. We have plenty money out there. So we want to ask you, we want to tell you, let us educate ourselves. Let us be very, very clear that there's so many things that we could benefit as a people, but we have to be strong. We have to be very observant. We have to educate ourselves continuously so we could be able to get a better deal, and we could be able to have a life that is considered comparable to a first world country. There's nothing wrong with us asking for that. There's nothing wrong with us agitating for a better life. That is what humans do, and that is expected if we have children. The oil and the gold and everything belongs to us. This is our country. Let us manage it in a sustainable manner and ask our regulators and our government that they ensure, as our representatives, that they do the right thing. So we continue here. Investigations into elections day fraud. 2 more of Mingo's assistants arrested. And this is in the Kaieteur News of front page today. Religious leaders implicated in a multi-billion-dollar Ponzi scheme. Alleged schemers for court today. This is an interesting story. We hear in some pastors of some prominent churches, some pundits and everybody were recruiting people, were saying, look, this is a good thing. And they collected money and they were paid up front. And people, even today, some media people were even being accused. I see my friend, the Guyanese critic, they even accused the boy of collecting money. We would have asked the accelerated folks to come on radio here. They never turned up. There was another Forex trading, the folks from Trinidad, and they came and they insisted that they're legit. Of course, the authorities are warning about anything to do with foreign exchange trade. Be very careful what you're doing. There's a nice story here, a feel-good kind of story here in Kaieteur Radio today, Kaieteur News rather, on the front page. Guyana records 4th successful skull transplant surgery. And this makes my heart feel good. And we have Dr. Duki there. And this is somebody who's really been raising a lot of eyebrows. He's been taking notice, successful doctor who has been doing some good surgery in Guyana here. And the gentleman would have been able to do a skull transplant surgery at one of the hospitals. And so when we're talking about building capacity in Guyana, we're talking about, educating our people. We're talking about we don't have to go elsewhere. We have some good folks here. Let us try to push them. And there's nothing wrong. All countries, if they really want to compete with the rest of the world, we should educate our people. We should push our people to do well. We should try to have our facilities here in which they could be able to practice, to be able to do things. And it's very good that we should hear our good doctors, our good professionals in Guyana doing things that are, that could be compared to the rest of the world. We have that capacity here. I feel good about this company with deadly environmental record completes buy-in of Guyana gold fields. And so this is a Chinese company. The China government, owns most of these companies here, and they're here and they've taken control of the Guyana gold field. We're looking at this deal very carefully because we would have given another company all the necessary approvals and the concessions and so on. And here you have another company walking in, taking it over with the same kind of concessions. Is this really allowed? Did Guyana benefit from this big sale of what would have happened? So we have to continuously looking at what is happening. You can't just have people walking in and out of your country, taking over this. We are encouraging investors into the country. Should the country benefit whenever anything happen, any transaction? Of course. There's a cost attached to everything. The Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, the Ministry of Natural Resources, everybody's working there to oversee, to approve. And so when you have people just stepping in and just doing, and then they're taking out the money by the billions, and we have nothing to benefit. we should be paying attention. It is our money. And if you're not interested in your money, I'm interested in my money. And so there's this big commentary on the front page of Kaieteur News today. I've been watching very carefully. I like these kind of commentaries on various issues in Guyana, and of course, Kaieteur News has been leading the way when it comes to taking the issues head on. And this is what it says here. Interesting read. We have an obligation toward children. Exxon is facing increasing demands to give Guyanese a fair deal, including through higher royalties, profit sharing, taxes, and improved environmental safeguards in retort. Exxon is now threatened to take its money elsewhere. Exxon has a well-documented history of putting its money into countries, and those countries ending up poorer after the company was done with them and their oil. Let me repeat that. Exxon has a well-documented history of putting its money into countries, and those countries ended up poorer after the company was done with them and their oil. Before Exxon came to Guyana, we were eating and mostly happy, but if we allow Exxon to have its way, we might still be eating, but we will definitely be unhappy. Exxon has an obligation to its shareholder to provide the maximum profit possible. We have an obligation to our children to bring them the best future possible. So there should be balance. This is what the essence of this message is today. There should be balance. You give us a good deal, you're gonna be happy, we're gonna be happy, and everybody happy. And we could make this country here as an example of how good Exxon is to countries like ours. And so Exxon has a responsibility, it has an obligation, and it has an opportunity here to do the right thing. I think I've said enough there as far as that's concerned. Front page, interesting read here, Kaieteur News. Well done. So before we go to the line in a very short while, let me comment on a couple of things. The first thing, our numbers keep going up when it comes to COVID-19. COVID-19, the shops are still opening. I've been receiving lots of complaints from all over. The police are not doing such a good job. They go into some places, they go into some communities, they're looking at some shops, and then they turn in the back and allow the other shops right across the road. You could go along these bank and I could come to you along the highway. We were hearing yesterday, I received a complaint at the junction of the Soesdijk Linden Highway. Beautiful area for Bacchanal and things like that, but this is not the time for Bacchanal. This is a time where we have to be very careful in protecting our people. Into the wee hours of the morning, a stone throw, well, we could say a couple hundred yards from where the Madawini police outpost is, and they would stop you ever so often if you drive into the Timeri airport to check whether you have documents. But a stone throw away from them, or a couple hundred yards away from them, they can see that people are breaking the curfew into the wee hours of the morning. You need to get yourself in order there. We have seen many pictures of it. We've seen videos of it, the police commissioner. And you guys need to direct, I'm going to be the commanders within these various areas here. You need to direct your police officers that people are looking, people are recording, and people are watching. People are saying things. And it's not a good thing that we have. Again, today, I have to be criticizing the police. I want to give kudos to the police for the good job that they're doing, and I know they're good, decent policemen there. But we need to do a little more. We need to be stricter. You cannot have people breaking the curfew, endangering our people, and we cannot have our citizens breaking the rules knowingly. As I said before, you want to have a drink, pick up your beers, pick up your rum, go home and drink it. Do not open the doors. Do not do anything that is going to allow our people to be, you put them at risk. And so the other issue with COVID-19, while those numbers are rising, we're hearing news now in some communities that officials are going around taking down people's names. I've received several calls this morning. I've reached out to some officials. We are, in the next couple of days, going to have some officials coming onto our radio. I've already spoken to Minister of Education, Priya Manik Chan, with regards to the schools reopening, and if it's not, if the schools are not being reopened, what are some of the alternative measures? How are we going to reach those people that don't have access to the internet. And so she has committed to maybe as early as tomorrow. She says she has a couple of meetings. If she's free, she's going to come on to the radio program via virtually, of course. We're going to have some questions. So we are also talking to the Minister of Human Resources. We should have a comment from her very shortly as to when. And so we're going to be talking about help, how the programs, how we going about for the assistance, COVID-19 assistance. A lot of people are interested, and they also saying people are within the various communities and are taking down names, and some names are not being taken down, and people are very upset with this. They say, this should not be. If you're sidelining us or we haven't met requirements, you got to be very clear, because I'm seeing two people in one house, one husband, one wife, and though they carry different names, they have gotten. I can't get because they say that I haven't met the requirements. So seem to be on not a so even-handed way on how we take in these information, and so we will continue to pay attention to that story there. But in the meantime, 622-622-222. We want you to send your message there. I did see a couple good folks this morning came. We did had a couple of good people who would have said, look, we have some hampers. We share that out. I'm trying to raise some more. When that happens, I'm gonna make sure that you guys know in a little way as possible, in our little ways, if we could raise, make somebody happy, let us do that. We have so many people crying out, reaching out, we're not working, we're suffering a little. Could you help me? And we really want to help. And if you can, let's start within our communities. I did start the reaching out a couple weeks back, and I did say, within our communities, if you are a little more privileged, if you have a little fatter bank account, if you have something in the kitchen, let us see whether we can start within our own communities to make life a little better. You don't want people starving. You don't want, you could do something. Let's make it a challenge. Gildarie has started it. I want you to do it. I want Kaieteur Radio has started it. I want you to do it. A couple business people, they've been very kind, very quietly, in their own little way, reaching out. I want you to do that. Don't let us give it to Gildarie to do it. Start within your community, every community across this land. I know that some of us could do a little better. Let us reach out. Let us do something. In the meantime, we can't depend on government or the CDC or the Ministry of Human Services to do everything. We have to start it. And so let us in our own little way do those things. So, we could put some smiles, maybe make some children not go hungry. We could make life a little better for our citizens. A lot of them, I've been receiving so many calls. And I really wish that I had a lot of money that I could probably reach out, or I wish that our government could have those resources that they could give every home a hamper maybe every week. That is my wish. And so there is some things that we could do. I would not buy it that we don't have, even if it's a little something out of a pot that you could give to a neighbor. Let us see what we could do. It is what we are as human beings. We should be helping our brothers and sisters. It's godly to do that. So I think you know what our numbers are. It's 226-7453. I see Rat shaking. Is that the correct number? You know it out there. 226-7453. So within 2 minutes, we're going to come back and we're going to join the lines. I want to hear from you guys. I've spoken enough, and I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. What is it that you believe your government should be doing? I want to hear from you what you think about this accelerated and the alleged Ponzi scheme. They're facing the husband and the wife, Mr. Yuri Garcia Dominguez and his wife, Atika Ishmael. They have been remanded. We're not sure if they're going to go to the High Court for bail, but the one court give them bail over $9 million. The other court, I think Suriname, refused them bail. So they've been remanded. A lot of persons would have turned up with placards this morning calling for them to be released so they could make the necessary arrangements for monies to be repaid. The authorities are not too comfortable. They're saying that these people are high or grave flight risk at the moment, and they have no assets here. They could disappear. It's very easy to disappear, and so we are going to continue to pay attention to that. In the meantime, the opposition has signaled intentions to go to court on Monday to file its elections petition. This is going to happen 10 p.m. Joseph Harmon, the opposition leader designate, he is saying he's calling on supporters to come out. Of course, a lot of people comfortable with that, especially with the COVID-19. Mingo in handcuffed this morning at the CID headquarters. That photographs were surfacing, and so it's all getting very, very serious for persons who are being held responsible for the roles in what is said to be elections rigging on March 2nd and after that. And so persons are being called in, persons are being questioned by the police, and let's see how that goes. Already you would have heard a number of charges, criminal charges, private criminal charges were filed. A chairman of the PNCR, Walter Lawrence, in court already. Keith Lowenfield already in court. They could not serve the documents on Mingo. Claimant Mingo, the returning officer who would have made those declarations. Nobody knows where he got the figures from, and he has to explain to the police investigators where he got those figures from. Manage Narayan, attorney at law. He will be replacing Robertson Ben as the next commissioner at the Guyana Elections Commission. And of course, public tendering, and we would have heard the Ministry of Public Works says it's going to start advertising. Small contractors could bid for works within the community for weeding parapets and so on. So some work available there. Must tell you that was a pretty interesting one. So let's go straight to the lines, and you could also send a text 6222222. Let us hear from you. What are some of your concerns? And we want to hear from you. Let's hear from you guys today. So let's go to the lines. Raj, good day. Good day, caller. You on the air?
Good day, sir. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Firstly, I don't know if I was angry or unexpected with the statement from Exxon. But one of the things about the deal that we have kept talking about is Exxon and Exxon not giving us a good deal. The unfortunate thing is that we have not paid attention to those people from our side of it who have done very poorly and has justified their foolish decisions. Remember when Exxon said they come to make a deal with a company, our people should be working on our behalf to get the best deal for us. And like I said earlier to someone on Facebook, we should not allow any foreign company to come into this country and rape it. It should be in a relationship. Rape is a one-sided thing where one person, the rapist, benefits. In a relationship, both people benefit. And that's what we need. That's why I'm concerned about this Chinese company that bought over the Guyana Gold Field and how well they will treat our workers, because they have a tendency of paying you lower when you refuse bringing their own workers. And one of the foundations of all companies coming in here is to have at least a 50% workforce from Guyana. I wonder if we don't have a shift for work.
We're losing you there, sir.
Yes, I'm also wondering if we don't have a police force working from 12 to 6 in the morning, because they're never on the road at those hours. And lots of things happen, including the security guards are going to work, getting robbed, and you cannot see a police force. It seems that we only work 16 hours in Guyana as a police force, and the rest that work at night shift sleep. And I don't want to beat up the police, but they have been doing a very poor job. I have seen with my own eyes that they have passed and see rum shops open and even went in and took something and come back and said nothing. And when a shop opened that's selling somebody rice will come home late, they're going to lock it up. And I'm saying both are wrong, but if you're going to lock up the rice shop, you got to lock up the rum shop. And the commissioner of police have to get serious. This government also needs to get its act together. We're finding money to bail guys who call for salary, which is good and everything, but you're telling me we have to wait for Parliament before you look after the people in this country who need COVID assistance, which is wrong. And the thing that the people say in Barbies seems to be true. APNU did it, now PBP is doing it, meaning that they have their people, selecting their people and put them on a list so that they will get first jump when this money starts to share. or whatever hamper or whatever it is, and it is wrong. And Mr. Infernali, the president, needs to look into this because this is dead wrong. Thank you. Let's comment after.
Thank you very much, dear caller. As always, right on the money there. And let me tell you this, and we don't want to beat around the bush. This is conversation that we have, and this is real talk. When people call you and they say, look, I voted for a party, and when I see one man go into a particular, I voted for the PPP, and when I see one man who I know that he's collecting and he going over there and he not coming to my place, those are the kind of stories that you're thinking. We're not aware that they collecting names, who's collecting names. I haven't seen anything. I'm not sure who are the people, whether it's the RDC, the NDC, whoever it is. We need to have some information on that. That's why I'm insisting that as early as possible, I have Dr. Vindhya Prasad, the Minister of Human Services, on here because we want to know. Of course, people have been asking, and rightfully so. A lot of people are suffering, and if you have monies, if you have resources that are coming for the people, they should know under what arrangements there's going to be. Is it going to be in cash? Is it going to be in hampers? What's it going to be? So we need to know. And if it is, the selection process must be as transparent as possible. They should not be one house getting 5 hampers and it's a husband and wife and kids. When another house, they're bypassing that house. That is some of the complaints that we get in. Then you're going to have other areas calling, but they haven't come here yet, and we hear they're going to the other areas. So you got to have, look, this country is 83,000 square miles. It is not about the coastlands alone. If you're going to do something, I think it has to be that you go to the newspaper and says, look, the designated persons are going to be the RDC people or the NDC people, or we're going to have somebody come in from one of the ministries, whatever ministry it is, whether it's the agriculture ministry, whether it's the human sources ministry, and they're going to come to the house in these particular areas. It cannot be a political figure. It has to be somebody who's an official within a particular organization, whether it's the CDC, whether it's the human resources, whatever department it is. It cannot be a political party official who's coming around picking up people's names. That is not how it's supposed to be. You would have heard many complaints during the elections time. We were not sure because there was not an official program. So you cannot have questioned it. If a party feels free that it wants to give out hampers, you cannot force them to give whoever it is. However, when state resources are being used, that's a different ballgame altogether. We're talking here all Guyana. So it is a complaint, and the authorities, if you guys are listening, this is what has been coming out. This is what the people are saying, and we should have a very clear idea. We should have a very strong statement, which put some level of comfort into persons who are dependent or who would be looking forward for some kind of assistance. And $4.5 billion, and I think they're looking for another two, maybe looking but over $6 billion in assistance. Let us see if we can't get some clarity on that. Let's go to some comments here. Good afternoon, Leonard. The police is singled out and target Indian villages on the West Demerara, and they're demanding a hefty sum. To make it worse, the police are, this one here is claiming that the police are selectively. I can't read everything that the person is saying, but the person is saying that we need to rebalance the police force, and that the police seem to be very selective in some areas on the West Demerara area. So I am not going to gloss over anything. We're going to put it out here. These are what the people are saying, and I could only put it out there. I can't hide it. I'm sending for the second time in connection for COVID help for myself and wife. She's 64 and 63. I'm going to reach out to these people here in a very short while and see what I can do for them personally. Leonard, I'm sorry. Let's hope that the kangaroo courts in Guyana find Mingo, Lowenfield, and company guilty of electoral fraud. I am worried that the police investigation will lead us to the real culprits that orchestrated this fraud. Expect some senior PNCR and AFC folks to be arrested and charged. Like you seem to know something I don't know. We getting some other asking for help here. So let us see how this is going to happen. In the meantime, let's get back to the lines. Good day, caller, you on the air.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Could you lower your volume of your radio, please?
Lower the volume of the TV.
Yeah.
Lower the volume. Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, go ahead.
Leonard, this thing, they would have some people who would want the CVP government to look bad because they will share out wrong information that the government would be doing this in this area, the government might be doing that in this area. But to my opinion, if they would be doing these things into the area, right, they should publish it. Publish it, basically.
Uh-huh.
Because if you publish it, people will see that, you know what happened, we're going to have some hamper sharing or beast at the Krabut Creek or 65 village or near, whatever village it is. I think that if a private person is doing this, they should even put it on air or publish it on the TV so you would know it's a private person doing these things. So no one could come down and say, well, the government is doing something immediately in this area and they're not getting this or they're not getting that.
Mm.
Remember, if a private person is doing something, you cannot dictate them and tell them who to give it to.
Right. And that's why I'm saying, but as the minute that you start using state resources, you got to be very, very clear. We got to be very even-handed how this money is going,
What
right?
I explained to you, if you're using state resources to do something like this,
Yes. You there?
yeah. But what I'm saying is, if you're using state resources, publish it on. They got enough television station. They have yard station. They have radio station. They have channel 18. They could publish it on. They have 6. They could publish it. NCN they publish it on. Put it air it so they will know this is a government. Hampers would be sharing out to X village. You understand me? So nobody, because I know a lot of people who would be doing things to make them look bad at this time. You understand?
Mm.
For instance, today at the court scene, if you watch some people there always asking for the go on bail, they can't get bail. They can't get bail. You know why? That is what you call money laundering. What they was doing there, that is money laundering. It's clear showing you that is laundering. I don't know your opinion, but to my opinion, that is what you call money laundering. That's a part of Soku job.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's there's so many, that story there has really irked me. For the simple, there's so many things that went wrong there. I mean, the writing was on the wall for a very long time. The authorities had warned about this since January. This gentleman here went and in June was granted. Now, if you come from overseas and you marry somebody locally, obviously eventually you're gonna get some citizenship. But there has to be some conditions. When they look at the police file, DPP says very clearly we could find nothing in the police files based on the statements that there's any reason that would stop us from giving this man a citizenship in Guyana. And he was granted this in June. But when you heard about the persons who were pushing, who was encouraged you and me to put money into this entire thing, then you say, wow. And then you hear people telling you 40 to 50% returns. There's several things that should have struck a very clear warning in the head, ring the alarm bells very loudly and says, wait a minute, let's step back and let's think very clearly about this. It did not. And I can't believe that intelligent people who would not want to give money maybe to help somebody else would take out a couple $1 million and just give it to this man around the corner. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I understand you clear. But my opinion, it is clear that is laundering. And the part that I told you about the government distribution, I mean, you should, at least when you guys' program, get it tie in with him and let him know that he could hear it too. That if the government is going to share out hamper, let them publish it so people will know about it.
Mm-hmm.
So the ordinary private citizen who would be doing it, me or you or the minister or nobody can have control over that. They could go and say they want to give Tom Jones and Harry.
Yeah, it is. But let's see what happens. We are continuing to pay attention to this particular case. A lot of people hurting. I really feel sorry. But we got to continue to educate our people. Let's be a little smart in what we're doing. And maybe this should be it should not be a repeat. But I'm a little fearful too because the police, the authorities are saying this company has no assets, so there's nothing holding these people back. If you put them on bail, and I shouldn't be talking about it because the matter is before the court,
Yeah.
but it is what it is. It's a
Well,
big
you're
issue.
saying that the money is in Billy's and a bank in Billy's. What the money is doing in the bank in Billy's?
That's what he says. The authorities has issued a statement stating, I think it's his last even in the Department of Public Information. Yes, DPI. They have sent out a statement which says that they can't find any trace of this company abroad.
Well, he's a fraud.
Well, I don't know if there's a conclusion to be made, but you could basically say if the money did not leave here, you collected the money, it
Where
did
it
not
is.
leave here. What do you trade in? Because the money has to go for you to trade. So
Yeah.
if it did not go through the normal banking system, how did it leave? Did you put in a diplomatic pouch? Did you or hire a plane? What did you do? Because it
Yeah.
is cash that you collected. One man says he put in $380 million. I
Wow.
don't know. The man said that he had an interview with I think Critic or somebody.
Yeah.
He was not on camera, and he says $380 million.
I thought
How
I
was
saw
this
it.
handed over?
I thought I saw it, but his photograph or nothing was not being.
Yes, it is.
380 million, yeah, that's true.
There's some clear conclusions. If you were intelligent enough to sift through all the finer things that are being said, you could be able to make some very, very clear conclusions. But it matters before the court. Under our laws that we have here, we can't comment on it too much as long because the people before the court, they have a right to be heard. But people should be make it very clear. I'm a little disturbed that people turned up there this morning. They have a
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
They worried, they put in money. And let me tell you what I found so disturbing about this. You had leaders, religious leaders,
Yeah.
who were encouraging people and say, "This is a good thing, my brother. You could put your money into it." And
Yeah.
some people sold the vehicles. Some people went and took out this life savings. You know what that says about those people there, those leaders, those pastors, and those pandits. My family is not going to allow me to say it.
All right, Leonard, I got to run out.
Yes, my brother. Thank you very much. You've raised some points here. But you've heard it there. Lots of things that are so worrying about this particular case. We got to be very, very careful. We got to be smart. If you go to the United States, and sometimes I go to New York from time to time, and you stand up in the streets and you see people don't give a damn about you. You ask for some money, they turn away. It reminds me of that song by Phil Collins, Another Day in Paradise. And nobody pays attention. The man whistles as he just go past you, cross the street. They don't care about the people on the street. Nobody gives you a dime. So when it comes to your money, people want to hold on to the money. They want to protect it as much as possible. I couldn't believe the cavalier attitude, the ease in which people just hand over all these monies. And then we have everybody, everybody's coming out and say this thing was legit. If you were legit, how for 2 years you've been practicing or you've been operating without a license? How for 2 years this thing was happening and the authorities in January was able until January to issue a warning and publish it in the newspaper that beware of this gentleman and whoever it is. Something is very, very wrong. Our regulators, I don't want to put lashes on them at the moment, but our system fell down on this particular case. Should not have happened. Many people are paying the price right now. When you're talking 20 million US dollars, you're talking about over 4 billion Guyana dollars. That is not chumps change. That is a lot of money. A lot of people would have lost their life savings here. A lot of people who didn't have any money, who decided to put it in, they got back some money and they believe that the man was trading. Maybe, maybe not. We don't know the police investigations. I've seen no evidence of that, and they went ahead and they charged the people them for obtaining money by false pretense. Let me explain what that charge is. If I come to you and tell you that I'm going to sell you this Lexus SUV for maybe $10 million, and I take a $10 million and I deliver to you a Toyota car, and it's not a Lexus, that's obtaining money by false pretense. Or if I take your money and never deliver to you, I obtain my false pretense. I said that I could bring it and I didn't bring it. So that is what, in essence, is that. So I'm trading in the international markets. What money, which company in the world makes 50? He was given about 40, 50% returns. Which company in this world, for him to have been able to deliver that, he would have to make a profit. So it means he would have to make an excess of 40, 50%. Which company in this world that would consistently be making that? I mean, come on. This is really, really, In addition to that, under the anti-money laundering laws, it is required. Let's forget the part that he's not licensed or anything. The minute that you start collecting money from somebody and you're acting as a bank, you're supposed to be coming under the regulators. You're supposed to be coming under the Bank of Guyana. You're supposed to be coming under the Financial Intelligence Unit. You're supposed to maybe do something under the Securities against Securities Council. If you don't fall under them and you're operating collected money, let's even assume that you don't have those licenses, which he didn't, which the company didn't. The fact is, when you come and you say that you're a depositor or invested money, it is my job as the person collecting the money to ensure that your money is not dirty. How do you determine that the money is not coming from some illicit means? So there's many things, but I want to leave it there because as of now, the matter is before the courts, and the courts have to decide on the two of them who we hearing are likely to face more charges. So 20 charges, more than $9 million in bail was granted by one court. Another court, which is also handling about 6 charges, says no bail for you guys. So they remain in custody. So we go back to the lines now. Yes. Good afternoon, caller. You're on the air.
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
This scam really gets on by greed, man. It's like greed is the driving force behind it, right? Because we all know the bank gives 1 or 2 or 3% interest. How can somebody give you 50% interest a month and sustainable? It's not sustainable, right? And the people who are going there protesting for this guy say that they get their money back, they're never getting their money back. But the sad part is the country, Guyana country, the people, their level of education is very low, so they get taken in by these scams. But another scam I have to let you know about is that Brazilian church on this former Strand Cinema. They are selling this anointed oil and this thing water for much thousands of dollars. That's another scam too, sir. Right? Which anointed oil or water does cause you to cure sickness? Right? There's a lot of people taking it. If you go to the church on Strand Cinema there, you see a lot of people get gullible, people being fooled by these Brazilian scams. This is another scam artist too, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because let me ask you a question. Which anointed oil or water could cure sickness? You know of any? This is the 21st century. Can you prove that your oil or your water cures sickness?
I was taught by Glenn, there's 2 issues that the newspaper don't really deal with. One is race. It's a very touchy issue, and I think it has come to the forefront. The other one is religion. You see, one of the things on the basis of religion is faith, the issue of faith. It's a very touchy issue, what you've raised there, and it's something that I've been thinking about too, because there were some issues lately, including a very popular DJ and so on. And on one hand, people saying that, he's very gullible, and on the other hand, people saying faith is something, because I had an issue. I had a personal issue with the use of the Hindu photographs and so on that was being used in a particular thing. But I don't want to raise that. But I just wanted to point out to you that it's a very, very touchy issue.
I understand that, sir. It's not religion per se, but when people uses religion...
Right. I hear your point.
Uses religion to persuade gullible people to basically take away money from gullible people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not we're not saying it's a religion's fault, but it's unscrupulous people using religion to take away money from gullible people.
Yes, I hear you, and it is a concern. It is a concern.
No, it's a concern because what really ticks me off is they use our national television, NCN, and they're propagating it, which it shouldn't be. I mean, if you're making claims to healing sickness, you are telling, like, some people would not go to the hospital. Some people are sick. Instead of going to the hospital, they come to you, and by the time they get to the hospital, it's too late and they die. Right? There's consequences to those actions. Right? But Toby, the FDA in America, the Food and Drug Administration, they have a thing that you cannot go on national television and make claims to this could heal, this efficacy of any drug or any, even herbs or whatever. You cannot go and make claims that this thing will cure this sickness, right? And that is for a reason, because if you make claims that this thing cures this and cures that, right, you have to have evidence to back that up.
Absolutely, dear. And I hear your concerns, and I agree with you on a lot of the points that you've raised there. I think the message that you really want to send to, let us be very much aware. There's a lot of pitfalls out there.
Right. There's people making claims to all sorts of things, and we have to be. I mean, some of the population are not intelligent to make things, but I mean, the regulators should. That's why the regulators should be there to say, you know what, you cannot be doing this. Certain things are allowed, and certain things are not allowed. Right? Like when you're going to be making certain claims today, certain things the government should not allow that, to be honest.
Right. And I think we got to get our regulators, we got to get the watchdog bodies and so on to start paying a little more attention.
It's the same thing like the security. Like, you remember Bank of Guyana came to the statement saying that if people are making claims of giving interest more than 10% amount, you have to, right?
Exactly.
Right? So the same thing, the hospital now should make things that people making claims about this is a curing disease and this, right? The hospital is supposed to make or the health profession, whatever, the Ministry of Health, should be saying, if these people are making these claims that this thing and this cures this sickness, right? They can't be making those claims without backing it up. And if you can't back it, you go to jail for that, because it's fraud.
Yes, I thank you very much for that. I hear your point there, and I hope that our people are listening. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, you have a good day.
You too, sir. Thank you very much, dear. And so you have diverse opinions coming from our people across this country. And yes, we should pay attention. We should be able to comment on these things here. If you're now joining us, is the Wake Up Guyana show. And let me tell you this, it's not to wake you up in the afternoon, but to wake you up and smell the coffee. Let us get our issues right. Let us all get all our ducks lined up, because we are getting very serious about not only our patrimony, about our resources, but we want to make sure that our people get a better life in Guyana. We want you to be able to have a say. That's why Kaieteur Radio is coming out, reaching out to you and give you the voice. And we are going to continue to do this as long as I have breath in my body, as long as Kaieteur says that you are working here. And Kaieteur is saying that we are going to make this program available. It is. You could get us on 226-7453, or you could WhatsApp us or text us 6222222. Let us see what some of the people are saying with regards to what they're thinking to. Hi, good afternoon to you, wonderful people at Kaieteur Radio. I have been texting you guys for some time now. I need some help. I think it's time for government to do something for people who are now working. This frustration is too much. Can't take it anymore. And so I hear you there. It is an issue with a lot of people. Good afternoon. Praying for oil is free. I'm not sure what that person means. I'm having a problem with GWI. My mom applied for what in 2018? They say they called her, and up to now they never called. They will call her, and up to now they never called. So when my mom called, they gave her paper for payment, $3,300 in 2018 to borderline, and my mom had to call them. When she called, they said they have she have to pay $15,800. My mom would like if they could look at the matter, because she cannot see so much for bore because of this pandemic plus things hard. Thank you very much. So it's somebody who says it knows me very long time from Grove. A good day to you. Good day to the good people down in Grove there. And of course, all our beautiful people from across Guyana. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I want to say a shout out. Good day, good afternoon to all the folks down on the West Demerara area. I've been called yesterday by a bus driver, and he says all the bus drivers on the west coast of Demerara, on the west bank of Demerara, have been tuned in, have been locked in on Kaieteur Radio, especially on the Wake Up Guyana show. They like what they're hearing. They like to hear what others are saying, and they said for us to tell you guys also that they love you all. So good day to the bus drivers on the west side, I think it is. So, hi, good afternoon. I'm very worried about something that's bothering me for a few weeks now. No, I think that's an old one. Good afternoon, Leonard. I am a laid-off sugar worker at Skeldon Estate. I'm very concerned about what is going on in this community. People are hungry. I open a meat center, but some days I don't even make $500. It's tough, but I'm still helping. The mayor of Kaieteur, Mr. Winston Robert, he only give food hamper to people he knows. And this guy only going where somebody, no, can't say that. So that is coming all the way from Barbies. A good day to you guys in Barbies. The story is still the same all around the place. People are really suffering. Even businesses are complaining heavily about some of the things that they're experiencing there. And I ask you guys, let us try to help each other. It is the only way that we could probably make it through this period. It's going to be a very, very tough uphill climb to get us out of this COVID pandemic that we in, and it has really affected. It has really held back our businesses, and it's really held back this country from being where it is. In fact, the entire world, some places are really, really getting it tough. Trinidad, Venezuela, Brazil, even New York, which have managed to pull back some of the deaths there. People are still without jobs and so on. Good afternoon, Mr. Gildarie. I'd like you guys could look into an issue at New Amsterdam Hospital. 2 nurses who tested positive for COVID-19. No, this can't be right. Somebody is here saying that 2 nurses have tested positive for COVID-19. They're still on duty. The excuse for having them on job is until now they don't have enough staffers. And the nurses who tested positive are not showing any symptoms. This is very alarming. The nurses speaking out, and some of them have refused to work. I'm gonna have to send this to myself because this is not right. How could you have people on the job who tested positive? So let me see if I get this right. 1 second. This is a very serious story here. So let's go back there. Raj, let's go back to the line again. Yes, good day, caller, you on the air. Oh, we missed that one there. The sound of the people calling is not okay. I'm not sure what this person is saying there. Okay, so let's go back. There's another caller in line. Yes, good afternoon, caller, you on the air.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
Well, I bless Leonard. How going on?
All right, pretty good, sir.
Hey, Mr. Roberts from Grove.
Hi, Roberts. How you doing, my brother? Long time.
I miss you a long time. Hey, what, I compliment you for having the PR from NIS on your program yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I would like you now to engage Cairo on your program because I observed for the past weeks the water standard, it dropped. We're not getting the amount of pressure. They discolor the water, and we don't have the amount of chlorine in the water. And the water have a smell.
That's it for the Grove Diamond area there.
In Grove Diamond areas.
Uh-huh.
So we should engage them and let them explain to you why the water stand. You're not getting the pressure, the water is discolored. And for the past 5 years, I drinking pipe water. Now I got to start drinking the pipe water.
Wow, but you make sure that you boil it or something? How you?
I don't boil the water because the water for the past 5 years, we had it powerful, nice chlorine, clear and nice, encouraging to drink. But now you can't do that. You understand?
Uh-huh.
So,
well, we are getting them together. What has happened right now because of the many state agencies and so on? There's some changes going through right now.
well, I understand all of that. I understand all of that.
It's the intention to bring them on because they must answer. We want them to answer some of the big questions that people are asking.
Well, I'm glad you start with NIS because there's a soaring issue area, and a lot of people crying out about NIS. So we got to engage this utility service because you go to the Public Utility Commission and you make your report, it wastes of time.
Yes.
It takes too long to investigate, and when you do investigate, I had a problem with GPL, where GPL jumped over my fence and carried my meter. We went there with all our bills and everything. When I call a man at GPL, you know what the man tell me? The PUC is not running GPL. Close case. Have a blessed day.
Oh, my. And did you try to get onto PUC and tell them that? I think he's gone there. So there you would have had it in Grove there. People complaining about the water situation there and the quality of water. We're going to try to get a GWI eventually. What I could tell you, a couple of folks are asking me whether I got back my test. I did test last Wednesday, I think it was, in the Horstellan Community Health Center there. I'm awaiting. I've been calling back and forth. They have a backlog, I understand, several hundreds, though there's only limited testing equipment there. And so what I was told, they're trying to get my results. I haven't. I'm feeling all right, but I'm a little anxious too. I want to ensure I've been wearing my mask all the time. Nobody's sitting next to me. I've sanitized the entire area here. When I'm leaving, I'm going to sanitize it again. I'm wearing my mask all the time. It's not a good thing to have your mask on. Talking is now coming out very clear. So it is something I'm looking forward to anxiously get those results. You always want to know. It's not something I like hanging over my head. So that's to answer some of the folks. I know you guys are very concerned, and I thank you very much for that. I hope it's a concern for good reasons. But I am trying to take care as much as possible. I'm lots of thank you very much, dear wife. I've been staying away from the kids. I've been using a lot of fruits. I've been using a lot of vegetables, and of course my vitamin C, very important. So let us get right back to the lines and let's see what the people are saying. I hope you guys are taking care too. Good afternoon, caller, on the air.
Good afternoon, man, and how are you?
Pretty good, man. How are you?
Good. We have an organizer from Freedom House here, right?
From where?
In Fowles, right?
From where?
Fowles, on the East Coast.
Yeah, Fowles.
Fowles, on the East Coast.
Yes.
Right? Now, they're bringing a form here to say they bring it in for people to sign up for release, right?
Uh-huh.
So we had a lot of over 100 or something people here. Saturday, I sat down here from 7:30 but I take lunch about 2:45, right?
Uh-huh.
With my wife and everything. Okay. Now I get to understand now that this thing is is illegal now. So I want to know all these people coming here now for sign up these people here, right?
How long ago this happened?
Be illegal.
How long ago this happened?
Saturday gone.
And it's illegal now?
That's what I get to understand from yesterday. This thing. I got in touch with the man this morning. I even get in touch with the NDC man at Region 3. And he said he know about Region 3, he know about Region 4. I got the paper here for the NDC Mark Falls Buxton, right? Now, how can you do this thing? I got all these people come in, right? Now, this organizer now, he photoshopping copies now and going around in the community and saying that only certain people must get. How can you do something like this? You're making a mess. This is not a party store. This is a government institution for COVID-19.
All right, let me tell you what I'm going to do here because I'm going to reach out back again to the minister, the good minister, Dr. Vindhya Prasad. She's always willing to engage, and although her timings might not necessarily be the same time that we want to bring her on, I'm going to come back tomorrow with some answers for you guys as to what exactly it is that is going on out there. I have not seen any official release stating that there's a countrywide campaign to register anybody. I have not seen that, and maybe I missed it. Pardon?
I have the paper right in front of me at the moment, and people coming in. I can't tell them, oh, we're not doing anything, because what's going to happen? And what's going to really happen when these people get to understand this kind of thing going on? Is my house they're going to come because they're going to say, it's me house come, and I doing this kind of thing. That is the reason why I get onto Freedom House this morning.
And what did Freedom House says? What Freedom House isn't supposed to have anything to do with this?
I can't get through with Freedom House because all the numbers them taken up and all.
No, I think it's the Ministry of Human Services and the CDC supposed to handle this. It can be Freedom House. I don't want to believe that this has anything to do with any political party.
That, if they could give me the number, so I could get on to the person who is in charge of this thing here, right?
Oh, yes. Yes, I see where you're headed.
If you could really push it out for me there. I'm living in Falls, right? I normally keep the meeting here, right? I normally keep PPP meeting at my residence, right? I have the president that's come in and the law has come in, and then the sheriff, right? So everybody know my house is keep the meeting. So when this farm come and they hear about it, it's rushing to me that I couldn't get, my wife couldn't even get to control them at the gate. So it's very frustrated to know you to go and tell people now that, oh, it's not this. And then the organizer now, photoshopping copies, going around now and picking his own people up.
Well, I'm gonna ask for some clarity on that, and I'm gonna come back with some answers to you guys
Thank you
tomorrow.
very much, man, and you have a great day.
Thank you very much,
Bye-bye.
dear. To the good folks down there at Fowles in the Enmore area along the East Coast there. Boxon, how you guys doing? And I want to say a good day to President Dr. Irfan Ali. How you doing, sir? And of course to the rest of the cabinet and to the leader of the opposition designated, Mr. Joseph Harmon. You are to play a very important role. We expect you to do your job in the National Assembly, to hold in the government's feet to the fire. That's what a good opposition party does, and we will be paying very close attention. We want to ensure that everybody do their job, monies are being paid, and you guys are going to be representing us. We want to see some good laws passed. We want to see some reforms. Hi, good afternoon. I want my government to regularize my area so we can have access to electricity and internet service. The area is number 68 and 67 Village Quarantine, Berbice. So let me reread that once again. I want my government to regularize the area so we can have access to electricity and internet. The area is number 68 and 67 Village Quarantine. A good day to the quarantine folks here. How are you guys doing? And of course, I think the government should ask landlord to cut the rent during COVID-19. Many people cannot pay the rent and they are given notice to move by the landlord. Yeah, this is a very, very tough situation because on one hand, a lot of folks have invested in buildings and they've rented out those buildings as a means of income. It's the only source of income for many families. You're faced with a very tough situation. So I think at this time, I can't even begin to ask if there should be any contemplation. Let's maybe cut the rent in half because it's then to throw somebody out on the road. We got to see halfway or quarter way, some way along the way that, we could see with our people. People are really suffering. People who are renting and you've lost your job. There's so many people who are slipping through the cracks. When we see people committing crimes and so on, we should not really judge them very quickly, jail them or whatever. Maybe they're hungry, they're desperate, there's very little options. I'm not saying it's right to steal. I'm just saying we should have a very clear understanding of the various situations and scenarios and be able to empathize as well with these people here. So in the meantime, could you go back to the lines? Let's see, there's another caller there. Caller, good afternoon, you on the air? Yes, good afternoon, caller, you on the air?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Gildarie.
How are you doing, sir? Go ahead.
Hi, that's right. With the Ponzi scheme, the protest there, right? I was saying they protesting to release him, but they could release him, yes, but the action starts so people get back their money. And he ain't got to get released to release the money. He could start preparation right there.
Where is the money?
I don't know where they got it. The Ponzi scheme are talking about. Yes. The protest there to release him are talking about.
Okay.
He didn't have to release for start transaction. He could start it. Technology is there.
Very good. You start now we start thinking. Someone need to take in the computers and things like that and let him start do that, right?
Start it. He got released for start. And I think Exxon, right, Mr. Gildarie? Exxon should put on the business cap now, man. They can't get over the island one care investment other way. Put on the business cap and start thinking.
Man, this thing is very, very easy.
You need to develop Guyana.
This thing is very, very easy. And I point
very easy to review.
Right. We have to get a better deal. We have to get a better deal. We own that oil thing there, Yes, you found it. We want to work with you. It's right that we work with you, but you cannot give us a deal like that. There's not IPAS.
I think it's time for the think more mature now, man.
Well, that's not mature. I won't want to. I don't want to say that there's mature. That is unbelievable. That deal that we got here. When you make a comparison with the rest of the world, nobody could explain. This is not ordinary oil, This is high quality oil you're talking about. There's very little process. So we got to get ourselves. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think they should get on with it and stop dragging out, man. Just review the thing and let me get on with business.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, dear caller. And so, if you're now joining us, this is the Wake Up Guyana show. Wake up and smell the coffee. We want you to understand what is happening in your country. We want you to play a bigger role. Somebody told me don't encourage the people them to do wrong things or to shout at the policemen. I'm not saying for you to break the laws. What I'm saying for you to do is start being very aware. Start educating yourself a little more. Start reading. Start understanding your rights. Start understanding that you're the owners of this land here. Start understanding that our politicians, our leaders have a responsibility to deliver services. It's not a favor that they're doing to you. The opposition has a responsibility to represent the people of Guyana. The government has a responsibility to represent the people of Guyana to ensure that they get the best deals, to pass the laws that they are protected, that they could have a better life. It's very, very simple. These things are not hard. So let us understand that very, very, very clear. And somebody is saying, Elizabeth Sunnett, she's saying all the way from Diamond, good afternoon, Mr. Gildarie listeners. Diamond Diagnostic Center don't have vitamin C tablets nor antibiotic cream ointment. I'm not sure what is happening here. I think the Minister of Health was here, Dr. Frank Anthony, about a week or two back, and he's stating that when they went in, they found some very serious shortages of essential drugs in the hospitals and the health centers. They're moving very swiftly to correct the situation. We would have heard this lady, I think in the Diamond along these bank area, they are complaining about not having insulin. So we have somebody, Natasha Singh, all the way from New Jersey and wherever you guys are joining us from today, in the United States of America, Canada, across the Caribbean here. St. Lucia, we had somebody always day in, day out, all the way there, Mr. Leonard, how you doing, sir? And of course, Europe, next door neighbor, and right across Guyana, Essequibo, Barbies, Demerara, Linden. How you guys doing there? We had somebody all the way from Linden every single day saying hi. So we want to say good day to Latham as well. And so in the meantime, let's go back and see whether there's anything in that we could read for people here. Good afternoon. I rent also 5 years now. And yes, good afternoon, caller, you on the air.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
I would like to make a few points with you. One, these traffic officers on the road, your vehicle marked private, they stop your vehicle, pushing the head peep inside, go along, sir. They even got the manners to say good day, good afternoon, whatever. Now, doesn't a man have a right of his privacy? The second thing, and we have a lot of reporters, or let me put it, people in general that be on the TV hosting shows. If you call to make a comment, these people tell themselves, some of them tell themselves that callers that call don't know anything. They would just want to lambaste you and encouraging other people that for call for lambaste you and do this. This thing should not happen. And finally, sir, for people calling about the Ponzi scheme or whatever, I think I read that the Attorney General did speak to the man liar, and they're giving him some option to open back some accounts so he could draw his money wherever he got it into the account to start making preparation to people. I think people should read and edify, and when it comes to that, it's technical and act a bit more responsible. I'm going to come off the air for allow somebody to call while you make your comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zaire. Yes. And the Attorney General had commented on this. He says, look, in a letter, I think, to Glenn Hanneman, I think one of the lawyers for the officials from Accelerated. And he says, look, it is not within my remit, and I'm just paraphrasing here, it's not in my remit to release the people. That is for the other state agencies. He's pointing to the courts and so on, or maybe the investigators, the police force. But what he says, the possibility you could engage me as a lawyer, you can engage me and the other investigators to see about the possibility, if you have the money somewhere, that we could have the facilities, maybe bank accounts or something, for the monies to be sent. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. Did the money leave Guyana? They can't find any, so they can't find any accounts that or any business that's abroad that wherever it is. They can't find how the money would have left Guyana. The officials would have been stating that it left here via something called bitcoins, which is digital money. And even then, too, they have a little difficulty because if you want to get out of jail or you want this matter to thing, you could start even instructing the people to do it. Do they have the capacity? Was that offered to the principals of the particular company? We don't know that. So many things that we don't know. Of course, the investigators would have seen it fit to slap those two officials with about 20 charges, two different courts handling the matters, and one court refused bail while the other one would have put an amount of over $9 million in bail for the two executives. That's what we know so far. So good day to the folks down in Toronto, Canada there. I think Daram, Raj, Budu, how you guys doing? And so we go back to the lines again. Good day, caller, you're here. Okay, we missed that there. So we go back and see if there's anything I'm renting my home and work out a thing with a tenant. I took a loan at NBS and have to find the money to pay them. I hope they could work out something with the people who take loans with the NBS. Very good comment, and let me tell you what we know so far. I think the president would have met with the Bankers Association, virtually, of course, and they are trying. They have waived some of the fees and some of the requirements. Bank of Guyana have done that, and they are allowing some of these benefits to pass on to the bankers, to the people who would have taken loans and so on. Let me tell you how it works. So the bank cannot just defer your payments, or else it goes into different areas that they would have in their reporting requirements. They could only have certain limits of which loans could go into bad loans and so on. After that, they would end up in some kind of problems with the Bank of Guyana. They would have some red marks and some other things going against them. So the government has lifted some of the requirements which allow some of these benefits to be passed on to the people. And I think what is going to happen in a very short while, if you guys are listening, get hold of a bank, and if you have loans with them, see whether you could work out the arrangements. I think those benefits have already been signaled to the big banks, the commercial banks, and to NBS and so on. So these could be passed on to you guys. But you need to engage banks. Do not take it or wait on government to do something. Start talking to them. Start trying to say, look, instead of paying $25,000 per month, could I pay 15? But you could give me a little longer time to do it. And I think the banks are going to work with you. Of course, a lot of people, the harsh reality is that a lot of people don't have the monies or don't have a job in which to pay some of the money. So you still have that reality to deal with. It's not an easy job that this government has entered into office and they would have to deal with, but deal with it we have to. We have to confront these situations, and we have to find some innovative ways to deal with the matters. And the matters are going to be, how does some of the big businesses, they would have taken loans, they have overdraft facilities, they have not been open, they have not been able to sell. We know that many businesses along the country, they have opened in a lot of ways. They found ways to survive. We have to find some of the initiatives through the financial system to pass on to those businesses. I'm going to say we, the regulators and others like the Bank of Guyana and so on. So let's see what happens there. It is a very good issue. You guys need to contact your banks, and let's see what kind of help that you could get there. The oil deal ExxonMobil made with the previous administration clearly shows that the previous administration does not care about the welfare of Guyanese. They made a deal, any deal, just to have whatever cash flow, to pocket it all for themselves, just sickening. How can an administration of such hold anyone's feet to the fire when they have no moral or decency left in them? So that is coming from one of our viewers, listeners. And so Leonard, let's just be careful. Legitimate companies that run Ponzi scheme, they would open up, register, follow all the necessary protocols, and then close shops and run with the money. I lost thousands of dollars with a company that's so-called legitimate and registered, and then they closed business a couple of years ago and disappeared. There's a saying that if it sounds too good to be true, then it's not true, and you're right. If you believe that something, a guy is promising me the moon and the stars, and they're giving me 50%. Run, take your money, keep it. Do not do anything with it. Do not give anybody your money just like that. So I think this is going to be, it's going to leave a very bad taste in the mouth of many for years to come. They're going to remember this year, 2020, not only because of the elections, but because a lot of good, decent people. I would not necessarily want to agree that people who are greedy. I think they saw something. I would want to say that maybe we did not make ourselves aware, and maybe that is me, the good person, me, not the cynic, that wants to give people a chance. These people. Your past is coming, or your pandit, as somebody is saying that it's a good thing. I believe my pandit, I believe my past. So am I necessarily greedy? Could I be described as greedy? It's a very touch and go situation. Are you greedy, Raj? Raj says no. A good day to you, caller. You on the air? Yes, good day, caller. You on the air?
Hello, good day.
How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm all right.
Go ahead.
But I'm just calling you all I like the work you all are doing, but it's just weird. I'm just calling to find out if we haven't heard anything from Vidya on the pensioners yet, and normally we get paid starting like from today and tomorrow, but we haven't heard anything from her yet, any date when she will start paying out pension.
This is the $20,000, the old age pension.
Yeah.
I saw something. That they have started. I'm going to try to bring it up and see what we could do.
Okay, because that is what we are, everybody, my husband is a pensioner, and actually that is what I'm depending on because he's now working.
Mm-hmm.
So we try just finding out what is happening with it.
All right, I'm going to try to pull it up here. I did see a notice somewhere. I can't remember. This is the Ministry of Human Services. Let me see if maybe I could pull it up. In the meantime, if I get it up, I'm going to read it out to you guys.
Okay, thank you so much, Leonard. And thank you. In all the days of the election, I was trying to get you all. I never got through. And you and York and all of us, I'd like to thank you all so much because I'm learning a lot of things from you all on this program.
Well, I hope that it has been good. It's really been good talking to you guys. Well, I did find something here. I'm going to try to read it. I hope that answers the question.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my dear. Have a pleasant rest of the day. So this is coming from the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security. September pension payment to commence on September the 1st. The Ministry of Human Services and Social Security wishes to advise that pension for all pension, that's how they have it here, will begin on Tuesday, September the 1st at post office countrywide. So this is September the 1st. The ministry is cognizant that in previous months, payment would commence approximately 1 week before the actual month's disbursement. The early payment system was implemented to ensure that pension and the National Insurance Scheme disbursement schedule did not overlap, thus preventing overcrowding at the post offices. However, pension and NIS payments will not coincide for September month, but early pension payments would resume in October. As customary, the alphabetical system using surnames, last name would be employed for senior citizens to receive their payment during the first 5 days of the month at post offices in Region 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. Senior citizens will be paid surnames, last name beginning with letters A to D, Tuesday, September the 1st. And I'm going to share this on my page. E to K, Wednesday, September the 2nd. L to P, Thursday, September the 3rd. And surnames, last name begin with letters Q to T, Friday, September the 4th. Surnames, last name beginning with letters U to Z on Monday, September the 7th will be the 5th payment date. The alphabetical system will only be used during the first 5 payment days. Senior citizens will be allowed to cash his or her coupons on any day after the 5th payment date. In keeping with the guidelines provided by PAHO, post offices continue to enforce physical distancing between individuals accessing the services. This measure limits the number of individuals who can enter any post offices at any given time. Person visiting the office are asked to wear protective masks and sanitize their hands before entry. We look forward to your things. So I'm going to share this on my page, Gregory Gildarie on Facebook. If you guys have Facebook, and you could be able to read it there. And I think all right, and this came about 20 hours back. Yesterday, Dr. Vindya Prasad, Human Services, would have held a virtual meeting with personnel from the Ministry, Canadian High Commission, UNDP, the Office of the Climate Change, to discuss a number of actionable projects, including food support for the most vulnerable, including the homeless and women affected by violence. They collaborated. A support program will be rolled out shortly and is expected to assist hundreds of persons. Additionally, the Canadian representative disclosed that Guyana was one of 9 Caribbean countries identified to benefit from one of the government projects, enabling gender-responsive disaster recovery, climate and environmental resilience in the Caribbean. And gender, I think it is. And so there's some work being done in those areas there. Let's go back before we head back to the phone lines, because I want to push in as many calls as possible. Thank you for letting us in on the radio ads, etc. from Latwin Subrim. I'm not sure what that is. Good afternoon. 5 months and can't get my refunds of $4,000 from NIS. When I call, it's just to hear, call next week, call next week. This person here, next week we're going to have the PRO. This is Diane Lewis Baxter again on Kaieteur Radio. She's committed to come every Wednesday. So I hope that your answers, everybody, that we could be able to give it to you. Good afternoon, Mr. Gildarie. Ken from Netherlands. I heard the police are allowing those Cubans who are in quarantine in Kanji Borbis to go out and do shopping in the supermarket. If that is true, the policemen should be fired. Thanks. Do have a good day. Yes, I did see some complaints about this, that people are being allowed, like you would recall a number of Cubans who were being held after they crossed the borders illegally. And those guys who are allowing these people to cross illegally when the borders are closed should be charged and be handed some stiff jail sentence. You're endangering the rest of the population. But if it is that we had some of the Cubans cross and they're being kept or supposed to be kept in isolation, isolation is isolation. You cannot allow the people on the streets. Where are the mechanisms to monitor? We know that there's short staff, a lot of people overworked, especially the nurses and the doctors. And I want to say good day to you, doctors. And of course, the policemen, good policemen and women, those who are doing the jobs and who are working hard and who've been sacrificing, a good day to you. We have many good, decent policemen out there. And of course, a good day to our Commissioner of Police and the other hierarchy. A good day to Mr. Wendell Blanham, Crime Chief. How are you doing, sir? And so let us see if there's some other actions here. Good day to you, sir. I'm a Guyanese in the islands with lots of questions. Well, I haven't seen any question to you. Let us see. So could we go back? Good afternoon to you, brother Pablo. Question: how can someone in town go about getting tested for COVID and cost, balancing hospital testing for blood, via blood for $10,000? Is this a legit test? I honestly thought the nose swab was the only method. Stay safe. God bless. I can't answer that question. Maybe on Monday evening, I understand that we are going to have Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, here in room 592. Tomorrow night, I understand that we have our Minister of Housing, Colin Crowell. He's going to be in room 592. Myself, Dr. Yog Mahadio, should join us. And if you missed that big show last night, a lot of disclosures, explosive disclosures there by Bibi Shadik, Commissioner of GCOM, about some of the things that would have occurred until March 2nd from March the 2nd to August the 2nd, some things that she saw, her own thoughts, and she was very straight up and very, she didn't beat around the bush. That was a woman who knows how to use words and very honest about it. Good afternoon, Leonard. I love your show. Keep up the good work. I was out. Could you tell me if Yuri was granted bail or he was remanded? He was remanded with his wife. I'm not sure if they've gone to the high courts. We will continue to take what I can tell you. It's over $9 million. Two courts are handling the matter, over 20 charges for he and his wife. And two courts are handling the matter. Vigilance and Paranam on the east coast of Demerara. And Paranam is handling about 6 charges, I understand. And about 13 or 14 charges, thereabouts, handled by Vigilance. And one court says $9 million bail, the other court says no bail. So they have remained in the lockups on remand until the next court date. I don't have the details on the next court date. There were a number of persons in front asking, people who want the money badly, people who would have invested. They believe that if Mr. Garcia comes out of jail with his wife from remand and on bail, that maybe they would get back their money. So they were there in front of the courts with placard asking for his release on bail. So could you go back to the lines? Yes. Good day, caller, you're there. Okay, we missed that one there. In the meantime, let's see some other callers. Good afternoon, gentlemen. No. That one I missed. Sorry. So good afternoon, Mr. Gildarie. I just want to say that dry weather is here in the communities of Dumburg and Fredericksburg. There's serious water problem. What happened to the various parts of the island? Dumsburg, where is this? Forgive me. I don't know where this is every day. But the person is saying that the various part of the island gets GWI water every day. But for us at the far end, we have to wait until Saturdays and Sundays. But for the past week, we got water only Saturday night and just from about 5 p.m. So we have to fill our containers and wait again. It's rough, boy. We have livestock and the water is important. We're glad we can have water on Wednesdays and Saturdays and Sundays. Don't mention my name. Thank you very much there. Okay, this is on Wakenham. Wakenham, the good people of Wakenham there. They're suffering from water problem in the area of Fredericksburg and Dumburg. I hope I'm pronounced. I never heard about this. Forgive me. But I think it's Wakenham. And a good day to you guys down in Wakenham there. How you doing? I know you guys are hardworking farmers, have been doing so. Farmers, I got a lot of respect for them, and they're hardworking. Good afternoon, Gildarie. I'm enjoying this show this afternoon. I've created a Facebook group called Wake Up Guyana Watch, on which I've shared the links of the show to the group so the listeners and viewers and around the world can have exclusive access to all editions of the show. However, I'm currently unable to save today's live video to the group. I'm only able to see the comment section and not the live video. Probably something at your end. God bless. I'm going to ask my guy to look into this right away while he is attaching me to... could you see if there's another call in the meantime, Raj? Yes. Good afternoon, caller. You're on the air.
Hello, good afternoon.
How are you doing? Good afternoon, sir. You sound very alive and a lot of energy there, man. You put a lot of energy in me there.
Yes, Mr. Gildarie.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm calling from Essequibo.
Essequibo, yes. We're in Essequibo.
And I'm in Regina.
Anna Regina, sorry. Yes, go ahead.
I think we have a problem with the Anna Regina police station.
What happened there?
When you carry a vehicle for fitness, the guy got you in a long line. Then he will got a time when he will come out. Then now he will ask you for open your bonnet and you will make all kind of excuse that your engine have to wash. You will check your engine oil. If you have too much water in the
the check your engine oil too?
Yeah, the man checking the engine oil, he checking your water, you tell your engine have to wash, you tell you this, he got you upside down, this man got you, man. I think something should really be done about this. People are fed up with it when they go there for fitness. And that is not all. I have a reasonable second-hand car. It's a private car, and this man gave me 6 months fitness for my car, and I don't drive every day.
Mm-hmm.
And he give me 6 months fitness. Then he's telling people that you have too much water in your radiator, you have too much oil in the engine, you have to wash the engine, and all these things he's telling you. really wrong about this man giving you this license officer in Regina Police Station.
What's the name of that license officer, sir?
I don't want to give you any ear.
All right, I understand that. But let me tell you this. Who is the commander in that area there now?
I think it's a woman. I don't know her name, to be truthful.
I want you to do me a favor. I think if it's a lady, very, very approachable woman. I would have called her, and when there was some issues with some drivers who were arrested because of COVID regulations, they would have seized the cars and so on. And I did call because they asked me to look into it, and she was very kind. If it is that you guys have an issue, could I make a suggestion that maybe you have a conversation with her, ask for her, and say that you would have spoken to me, and I said that she's a very nice woman, and that if she could look into it, she's very approachable. Could you do that?
Mr. Gildarie, this guy is really giving you a hard time in terms of the year of giving you fitness too. Imagine I have a good car, I don't drive every day, one time a week, sometimes I drive my car. 6 months fitness. This man giving me car.
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how they do it there. But when I go, sometime I've never heard anybody going in and check my water level and my oil level or anything.
Well, here I could bet you that happening in Essequibo at the Island Police Station.
Everybody they do that too?
Everybody do that too, man. Everybody.
I'm gonna call the commander. As soon as I get downstairs.
Checking your water, you checking your engine oil. And if you got too much water, you got to trample about to your mouth.
How many other persons you saw that he did that to?
Well, the day when I was there, he happened to people. And he making problem with your number plates. I tell you which is fine and which is fat. And the policeman and car all the fancy number plate, and you and can't gather. Tell about number plates, line wrong it. It's fine, the number fat, and all kind of things this man telling you, man. All kind of sort of things telling you.
I'm going to be having a chat with the commander as soon as I'm finished with this program, and raise some of those concerns, and let's see if it continues again.
I will call you back on the program, and you can give me an update, and that's when I call you back.
No problem. I'm going to definitely, as soon as I get down here, I'm going to give her a call. I did speak with her sometime back. So thank you very much, dear. To the good folks down in Region 2, West Cape Coast, how you doing? And if you're listening to us, Commander, that is what the people are complaining about. The police are being, in essence, being very biased. I've never heard people checking your water level. I'm not sure whether that's covered within the laws. I think if you're checking for fitness of a vehicle, what you check for is make sure that the brakes lights are working, all the lights are working, that the horn is working, that the vehicle, the tires seems to be in good shape. I've never heard or never experienced or never, saw that they ask you to check your oil level. I thought that has to do with the how you say it, whether you're keeping it your engine in good order and so on. That's something that's very, very strange. But there's some suspicions on my part. I'm going to raise that with the commander, the good commander there. A good day to you, Madam Commander. I do hope that everything is going well there, and Essequibo is seeing some improvements with your presence there. We can only encourage our leaders, encourage our policemen to do a little better, and whenever they mess up, we are going to criticize them and we're going to call them out. And it's not only the police people, we're going to call out anybody else, the regulators, the government, the opposition. That's what we do. That's what we should be doing. Hold the feet to the fire. As we said during the election time, the honeymoon is going to be over very shortly, and the people want answers. The people want service, good service. They want to see even-handed approach on the handling of their business, because it's not government business, it is the people's business. So thank you very much. Welcome to the Guyana Wake Up Show right here on Kaieteur Radio. You could take a look at this program again, and I thank that person who would have said that they've created a special group, the Wake Up Guyana group, and they're sharing it and people could get onto it. Thank you very much, dear caller, listener, viewer. It means a lot to us that you guys have taken this on. This is, I tell Glenn all the time, my publisher, the owner of the radio station, that while you might own this newspaper and you own this newspaper here and the radio, the newspaper and the radio belong to the people. We make sure that they have a voice, and I think he understands that. Some days I wonder, I do about 3 jobs for this thing. I'm here on radio, I edit the newspaper some days, I write stories, I write a column, and I said, wow, he could be paying me a little more. But I honestly, seriously, I like what I'm doing. It's always a pleasure serving the people of Guyana, and I'm not sure if I leave tomorrow morning, I'm going to be very bored. So I'm going to stick with it for a little while. It's fun working with Leonard. He is a guy, unorthodox. He is a very strange guy, but a very kind person, and somebody who has put country above self. So I want to say good day there to Mr. Glenlal. Not because I'm working with you, I'm saying those things. I'm saying it because it is what I know, and it is what it is. So we go back to the line again. Good day, caller, you on the air. Yes, good afternoon, caller, you on the air.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing? Lower the volume on your radio, please. Just do the phone.
Yeah, I just turned it down. Good afternoon.
Yes, my brother, go ahead.
Man, you see this country called Guyana? Guyana is a whole frenzy thing, and it's a very frustrating country.
Yeah, it gets us mad, right? Yes.
Yeah. Now, I hear a fellow speak about water. I live in across the river, the same thing, the water pressure drop, right? Now, you got GPL, you got GT&T, and GWI. Whenever they got a problem, whenever they're doing works in the community, it is issued to you that they're doing works, and so that you could prepare. Now, they got these small people that distributing internet, right? When you pay for a service, and you see when you got a breakdown in service with them, they carry you through all kind of circle before they tell you, look, that the internet service breakdown. And this whole thing coming from GT&T with the foolishness telling people that this monopoly got to break, this thing got to break, they got to negotiate, they ain't got to negotiate it. And the whole thing is a corrupt thing. This is why you see corruption is something that creates a lot of problem. And it got a lot of frustration. And the thing about it, recently you were doing some calling. You see, when you call in, they answering these phone service in this country very poor and foolish. It's like landlord fighting tenant for rent. Like the fella just speak, you're going to the station. Let me tell you something that you're totally not going to agree with me. Guyana need a 9/11, and then they're going to see some changes in this place. Until somebody walking one of these entities with a gun, and we hear 16 or 15 people dying.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
This is where we can get changes. These people need to bring about the change. It's very frustrating. This place need a 9/11. This is where we can see change.
I hear you, brother. I hear the frustration.
I'm highly frustrated. You calling in, getting through. I went to discuss my light bill with one of them. You know what the girl at the counter can tell me? She can't do that. She asked me what, you like to disconnect yet? These people, and the whole thing come back through. Look at the auditor general, look at the auditor report from the past 10 to 15 years. He's consistent, keep speaking about variation and amount of money that these people overlap.
Aye, you're right on that.
This money could be spent in enhancing these workers' behavior. Let me tell you this. I went in Barbados working and I come out for unemployment benefit. I had a problem pulling out my family. Now that I can't spell, the girl tell me, you let I do it. This is my work. You already work for the money. Why we can't start seeing these farmers development here?
Customer service, my friend. We got a big issue with that thing again. And don't bother. We coming back with I have some things planned up my sleeve for a couple of these big companies. And all companies that deal with the customer service. But that phone thing, that's a very sore issue with me. If I could change my internet tomorrow morning, I would change it.
All right, dear friend. But we definitely need to start lining up customer service. Like I was discussing something with my wife. The girl along at is Bureau Standard or the place that you're normally going to complain about GPL and etc.
Okay, the Public Utilities Commission.
Yes, I was telling you, she's very friendly, and she listens to you. But one of the things is, two things need to be done in this place, The workers need to be trained.
I think we lost that call, unfortunately.
Training customer service line, and prior to customer service line, and the next hand, the country needs to be sensitized in terms of there's a lot of institutions that work, but if their voice are not heard and they're not going to utilize it in numbers, the service would not compel, and we would get served, but it's a highly frustrated place, real frustrated.
I hear you, my brother. Customer
All right,
service
then.
come back to, man. Take it light,
Yeah.
man. Let me tell you. Let's start looking at it positively. Let's continue to agitate. Better must come.
All right, then. Thanks.
Thank you very much, my brother. Very frustrated caller there, and I think what he's saying there is so reflective of a lot of people in Guyana that we deserve so much more as a people. We want so much more, and we've seen it in front of us. We talk about the potential of Guyana. We've been talking about the potential in terms of agriculture. We've seen the oil that we have here. We see all the resources. Why is it that we're not getting it right? What is it that needs to be done? These are all questions that we have to continue to be raising. These are all questions that we need answer to. And so we have to start insisting, if we haven't already done it. And like I said before, charity begins at home. It starts with us. It doesn't start with the government. It starts with us. We got to be the one. Don't be afraid that the policeman is going to take. I see that man up in Esquibo there and he's talking about it, and it bothers me. It bothers me that people, you allow the tail to wag the dog. Like when Baby Shadik was talking about Keith Lowenfield, and I couldn't understand it, and I had a lot of respect for Mr. Lowenfield, but when you would have seen some of the stuff that transpired there at the Guyana Elections Commission, and we see some people who were coming out in defense of these people here, and you understand that one or two people held this country at bay for 5 months, something that we should not ever allow in this country again. So as we come down to program time, let me just recap a little as to some of the things that would have transpired today. We're hearing right now that Mr. Mingo has remained in custody. We would have had, let me see if I could pull it up, what the police force would have said this morning with regards to Mr. Mingo's treatment. And so I'm going to read this to you. This is the story according to Kaieteur News, the breaking news. The Guyana Police Force refutes claims that Mingo's constitutional rights were breached during arrest. He remains in custody, by the way. The Guyana Police Force moments ago sought to deny the claims put forward by attorneys at law representing the controversial return officer claimant Mingo of his constitutional rights being breached at the time of his address. In a statement from the Office of the Commission, Nigel Hoppy, the GPF, the Guyana Police Force, said that the allegations were far from the truth in their explanation. The force said that shortly after Mingo arrived at the CID headquarters in Gildarie following his arrest, an attorney, Mr. Darnway, turned up and demanded an immediate conference with Mingo, whom he said was his client. They said the police rank on duty directed the attorney to a designated area. Access to his client would be granted after the rank had completed making the necessary entries in the police records. However, instead of waiting in the area indicated, and without explanation, Mr. Wade immediately left the CID headquarters compound and met with several members of the media on the roadway, where he spoke with them and during which he proceeded to make some false allegations. Further, the force noted that after making these allegations, the attorney returned to the CID headquarters, where he met with his client. The Guyana Police Force also wishes to state that it remains ready, able, and willing to engage with the members of the legal profession to ensure that the constitutional rights and those persons they represented are respected at all times and there is due process, the release said. And so that is the story. Let me see. There's a breaking one here now. Let me read that. GCOM IT technician and elections flash drive scandal arrested. Crime chief Wendell Blanham has confirmed that Enrique Levan, the Guyana Elections Commission IT technician who was fingered in a scandal surrounding the tabulations on March the 4th at the GCOM Media Center, has been taken into police custody. His arrest comes days after controversial returning officer claimant Mingo and 3 of his assistants were arrested as investigations into the protracted elections continue. It was Levan who questioned by the police on March the 4th, during the derailed tabulation of the Region 4 count and was accused of being in cohorts with Mingo from previous reports On that very evening, when the tabulations were halted, two GCOM staffers were tasked with continuing the process. Levan later in the evening abruptly halted the tabulations again and retired to a room with his laptop and flash drive, causing party agents to become concerned and the police called in. So there you have it, more arrests in this continuing investigations of the March 2nd elections and what would have transpired after that. Mingo taken into custody, remains in custody, returning Officer Mingo two tabulation, two results that he would have declared, and both of them were overturned by the court, and so the police are investigating to see how did he arrive at those figures. In the meantime, the big case that would have also happened this morning was going to court of two persons linked to the accelerated funds, and that is Mr. Yuri Garcia Dominguez and his wife Atika Ishmael. Both of them refused bail after slapped the 20 charges. Two courts are handling that matter there. Mr. Manus Narayan, attorney at law, he is the new GCOM commissioner replacing Robertson Ben, who is now the Minister of Home Affairs. And Harmon is Joseph Harmon, the designated or the leader of the opposition designate. He said that Monday, August 31st, is when the opposition will file their elections petition at the Supreme Court. So those are the stories which we would have been dealing with throughout the day. And of course, the big one here, Exxon threatening to, the saying that it can take its money elsewhere, and the government says it's not buying that. If there's a threat, it will not work. And this is with regards to the current ongoing talks over the Payara. There's a third phase of development for Exxon, its biggest development, with the government is saying we're not going to give you the permit until we have a few issues ironed out. So we're down to program time. It has been an engaging time over the last, how has it been, 2 hours? And so as usual, it has been very engaging, very, I don't know what to say. I really love these folks. Don't you like them, Raj? Yes. We have good people in Guyana. So thank you very much for joining us wherever you would have joined us from the US, Canada, across the Caribbean here. And of course, can't forget my beautiful people in Guyana here. Thank you for coming through. As usual, you've been a comfort to me and you've been good. You've offered good companionship with us here today on Kaieteur Radio. Wake up, Guyana. So have a pleasant rest of the day until we're back same time, same place tomorrow. And tomorrow evening, we're going to be back with you, room 592, Minister of Housing, Colin Crowell. He will be in the house. So thank you very much. Have a pleasant rest of the day and be safe. Protect yourself.
Drink and chew to the beat of Mogu Mogu with fun fruit flavors and real nata de coco bits.
Mogu Mogu, you gotta chew. Distributed in Guyana by Saria Manufacturing Inc.
Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana from